Hey guys!
Hi guys.
Welcome to another Q&A session. Today we're going to be answering a question that's actually been asked a couple of times. And the question is from...
The question this time is from Joe Anthony Morales. So he asks, thank you, well, he said to Primrose, thank you for your reply because you replied to him. He said, I do have one question for you guys. When you disagree in something, does cultural barriers get in the way? Not all cultures deal with confrontation the same way, and do you argue in front of your children? And he's asked us to be honest, so we're going to lie. No, we're going to tell you we are honest, so this is going to be an honest video again, as usual.
We just tell it like it is. So when it comes to cultural, we don't really think our cultural differences actually make much of a difference. No. Because it's actually quite similar in a way, African culture and the Indian culture. For the most part, it's actually really similar, which is quite strange in a way, So no, culturally, that doesn't make us argue.
No, I think also we're quite, because you came here
when I was 12.
And you lived with your sister, which again, she was married to an English guy.
Yeah.
So Primrose has not only her values from the old days, but from your Zimbabwean roots, but also the modern way of thinking, the westernized way. And then obviously I'm born in a traditional Indian family, but being born in the UK, I've still got forward thinking ways as well, which I've developed as I've got older through my experiences. So now with my kids, I'm still going to culturally, we have discussed stuff, but generally we don't argue about anything over culture.
And especially in front of kids, we don't really argue over in front of kids, because we don't really argue. We might have disagreements on certain things, but to us, like, arguing is shouting and losing control and calling each other name or throwing stuff, and none of that stuff.
That's arguing for me.
Yeah, for me that's arguing. So none of that stuff goes on in our heart.
With that question, we would probably say that we don't argue.
Yeah, we don't.
But just as any other couple, we have disagreements.
Yeah.
But they will be over very small little things.
Yeah.
And they're very rare.
Exactly.
And they can be resolved. So it's not like we go to sleep angry at each other.
No.
So...
Yeah. So like, what we wanted to touch on really is why we don't argue. And I think like, that's more of an important, sort of like reasons why we don't argue. And the main reasons why we don't argue is because like me and Jazz talk and communicate about everything. We talk on topics that are not even like everyday conversation. We like, what about if this happens? What would you do? And
they just develop.
And so like I understand what Jazz is thinking, and he understands my way of thinking. And I think that's really helped us a lot when it came to arguing. Yeah,
you're never really going to you're never going to agree on everything.
No.
So sometimes when you spontaneously end up on a conversation which could be about our future, the good thing is we're both patient.
Yeah.
So we will always listen to each other, which is really important.
We're both easygoing as well.
I think just to make sure that you're not going to argue, you need to actually listen to each other.
That's it.
And then show that, once you've shown that you listen, the other person needs to reciprocate.
That's
when you need to come to an agreement.
And then if you don't agree, at least you can come to a compromise. Like, okay, fine.
An agreement.
I hear what you're saying, and this is what I think. Let's meet on the middle ground somewhere, right?
And even before marriage, like there was a few occasions where, obviously we got along great, house on fire. We're thinking, yes, madly in love. We're gonna get married, right? So I'm thinking, all right, cool. I'm taking a big risk now. We're gonna get married. So Primrose pulled me up. She said, look, come over here. You know that you don't really cook, you don't really clean. That's going to have to change if we live together because we both work.
That's it.
Am I right, babe?
Exactly.
What did you say to me? You were saying directly. You're very direct.
Yeah. For me, like, because I worked with a lot of women, and I could see like the things that they were complaining about, and the things that they were very resentful about towards their husbands. And I thought, you know what, for me, when I get married, I want peace in my life. I grew up in a home that was very unpeaceful. And now that I'm an adult, I take it upon my hands as my responsibility to make my home peaceful, to make my life peaceful. So whoever's going to come into my life has to respect that. And to be able to respect that, I think we need to communicate and say
right at the beginning, before marriage.
Before we even get married. Because if Jazz wasn't willing to change, I was very willing not to get married.
Yeah.
Because I want someone who can meet me on the level. So I was like, Han, you know you don't really cook, you don't clean, and I understand, like, I suppose it's a cultural thing for you guys, that, you know, mom does everything for you, but because we're not going to have that support system when we get married, you need to understand that you need to help me, because once we get married, it's just going to be you and me, and later on the kids are going to come along, and I don't want to feel resentful towards you if you're not helping me clean, if you're not helping me cook, if you're not helping me with the kids, because I go to work just as you do, and when we come back home, you cannot just go and sit on the couch and watch TV, chill out whilst I'm running around.
Cup of tea, get me my food, like obviously I did with my mum being at home.
Yeah, and run around like a headless chicken whilst your husband is just sitting there, because I would feel resentful. And I said, you know, because of the struggle that we're going through, I think it's really important that we need to be able to iron out these differences now, instead of us getting married and then 2 years down the line, I'm stressed out, I'm pulling my hair out and say, you know what, I want a divorce now.
Because a lot
That's
of people,
not for me.
Yeah, because a lot of people, whether we're male or female, they'll turn around and say, why didn't you tell me this earlier?
Exactly.
Because now we're married, now you're just, why are you complicating things?
Yeah.
Why does it have to be like this?
Exactly.
And then you'll argue, and then you are arguing, then you're fighting for days.
Yeah.
You're maybe not talking to each other for a couple of days. And it shouldn't be like that. And
That's
it's all because probably at the start of the relationship, when you were going through your honeymoon period, you didn't say what you wanted from each other. Exactly what you wanted.
Yeah.
Look, babe, look, don't get me wrong, I work. I'm going to be working all the time. I might not be able to do as much, but I'll try and do what I can on my days off.
Yeah.
You're compromising there.
Exactly.
You're not saying, I'm not doing nothing because I do the work, you're only part-time, so you're going to take care of it. It can't work.
Or you're a woman, so it's your job to be in the kitchen and stuff like that.
Because we're not in the 50s or 60s now.
No, we're not. Yeah. And for me, I wanted Jazz or whoever I'm married to make an informed decision on what they're going to be coming into if they come into my life, because I am not going to be cooking and cleaning and doing everything whilst you're sitting there. For me, that's not going to fly. I want to be able to say, you know, Han, can we do this together, and we quickly do jobs together, and then we can go and enjoy the rest of our day and the rest of our weekend, rather than I'm cooking, cleaning, and you're like, oh, come on, hurry up.
Don't get me wrong, it was a bit of a... initially when she told me, I was a bit like, oh my God, like... no, don't do this. Like, why are we ruining what we have, like... Because it was a shock to me that I was going to have to now pull my weight. Yeah. But there's nothing wrong with it. I was just lazy. Exactly. So I needed to sort myself out, in all honesty. And in all honesty, it's quite scary to think that without my wife, I'd be screwed. Yeah. And without my wife, my kids would be screwed.
That's it.
But now I can say that, look, if you want to go and do anything, you just go. If you want to go away for 2 days, 3 days, go. I can take care of the kids.
That's it.
Because she taught me, she was gentle, she understood that I never did it, so give me a chance. That's what I said to her. I did say that.
You're going to make mistakes, and that's fine, you know.
And some things I'm not good at, like washing clothes, so I refused to do it for a while. Not refuse, I just said, look, can you just do that and I'll do the other
But we compromise, like we mentioned in the other video. Like, I hate going to the supermarket, it just like stresses me out. So Jazz took that job along because he's better than me at doing that. I am good at doing the washing and the laundry and stuff like that, so I tend to do those jobs. So we like picked what we're good at.
I think like I said, people have to remember that communication is key to not arguing.